Are you having problems with your teenager and frustrated with the amount of money it costs for therapy, counseling, boot camps, or coaching? Are you confused because you don't know how to handle the situations you're in? Do you constantly wonder if your teenager's behavior is normal? Is your teenager a good kid, but for some reason having problems? Do you feel guilty you're not doing enough as a parent? Let's face it, raising teenagers these days isn't easy. With work, errands, and everything on your to-do list, it can be quite overwhelming to have to deal with the problems teenagers face. If you're like most parents, your teenager is probably having issues with poor communication, anger, lack of motivation, school, stress and depression, drugs and alcohol, dating and sex, acting irresponsibly, their future career, and much more. And let's face it, sending your kid to get some help isn't cheap. But what if there was a way for you to help your teenager without having to spend tens of thousands of dollars on therapy, counseling, or boot camps? Hi, my name is Sergio Diaz, and as an ex-troubled teenager, I know exactly what you and your teenager are going through. You see, I was one of those good kids that for some reason became out of control. I mean, really out of control. I was angry, did drugs, ran away from home, was overweight, depressed, lacked motivation, did poorly in school, and much more. But it wasn't that I was a bad kid. I just didn't get the right type of support that I needed. But at the age of 16, two things happened that changed my life around. First, my mom changed the way that she dealt with me. Like most parents, before the age of 16, she would struggle with me and we were constantly at war with each other. But because she had cancer, it forced her to change her life and how she lived. It was during this process where she also changed how she approached our relationship. The second thing that changed my life was that I found my calling, that was producing rave events. Because I had found something constructive rather than destructive to put my energy into, I was able to focus on something I cared about, which taught me to be more responsible. And for those of you who don't know, rave parties are the ones where teenagers and young adults go to take drugs and dance the night away. I produced these events and published a magazine for 10 years. And it was during this time where I learned exactly why so many teenagers are struggling with their parents. Because I became the, quote, responsible one, many of the kids coming to my events would ask me for help. What most people don't realize is that many of the raves that take place are like giant group therapy sessions for kids, because they take ecstasy and then talk about their problems. When helping thousands of teenagers deal with their problems, I saw a common theme. How parents are relating with their teenager is making things worse. You see, it's during the teenage years where future adults establish the foundation and pattern of how they're going to live the rest of their lives. Things like communication skills, making good choices, solving problems, addressing our emotions, being motivated and inspired, respect and appreciation. These are all fundamental values that each one of us needs to create a successful life. And many teenagers these days are not learning this, which is why so many end up as a troubled teen and in therapy when they get older. But what if there was a way to learn these skills sooner and without having to spend thousands on getting outside help? I loved helping people so much that when I left the rave scene, I became a life coach, and what I discovered was how there are so many people who struggle with creating the life they want. Whether they're struggling with their career, motivation, health, money, relationships, or emotional issues, all my clients were stuck in moving forward with their life. A few years later, I got the opportunity to publish a magazine for one of the largest personal development companies called Gaiam. This company works with such self-help gurus as Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Bob Proctor of The Secret, and many others. What I quickly realized is that this self-help genre is a billion-dollar, yes, billion-dollar industry that teaches adults what we should have learned when we were teenagers, how to create the life we really want. Then it hit me. What if we teach these same tools and techniques to teenagers so they don't have to have midlife crises and end up in therapy like so many adults have? So, when I left Gaiam, I decided to focus my life coaching practice and work with teenagers to teach them the tools to create the life they want. During this time, one of my parents expressed to me how expensive it is for her to get support for her teenager. She said, "Sergio, it's just too expensive to get help for my child, whether I hire a life coach, therapist, counselor, or send them to some camp. Costs me thousands of dollars, and I'm just not sure I can afford this." Does that sound familiar? When she said that, it hit me. Parents can be their kids' life coach and therapist if they just changed how they approach their relationship. Remember when I told you how my mom changed her approach with me and that this changed our relationship for the better? My mom, without knowing this, actually started to approach our relationship in the same way as coaches and therapists do, by remaining neutral. You see, all a coach or therapist does is provide your client a neutral space for them to explore who they are and what they want. The truth is, all parents can do the same thing as coaches and therapists. It's just that parents were not taught how to do this and use a very outdated method to dealing with their teenager. Just like the famous Albert Einstein saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Parents have been struggling with their teenager for thousands of years because the method has not changed. This is why I created the Neutral Parenting Formula, a blueprint to raising a successful teenager. In this course, I teach the methods that life coaches use that you can use on your teen, the changes my mom made that transformed our relationship, the real reason why kids become troubled teenagers, and how to turn this situation around, the top 5 things you can do as a parent to ensure your teenager becomes a happy and successful adult so that they do not end up in therapy, the reason why so many parents are stressed out, and how you can end your worrying, why your kid does the crazy things they do, and find out once and for all if it is normal behavior. The secret to what motivates all teenagers so you no longer have to nag them. Why emotions such as anger, depression, and sadness are good, and how to use it to your advantage. How to truly empower your teenager so that they can solve their own problems and you can enjoy more of your free time. A formula that sparks your teenager's interest in their career path so that you can feel good that they will succeed in life. The reasons why so many teenagers struggle in school and what you can do to keep them interested. Why so many parents are unable to communicate with their teenager and how you can establish a healthy line of communication with them. And much more. Imagine 10 to 20 years from now, your child comes to pay you a visit and gives you the biggest hug and thanks you from the bottom of their heart because of what a great job you did as a parent. Isn't that the best feeling in the world? I am on a personal mission to help parents build better relationships with their teenagers and to help teenagers become successful and happy adults so that they don't end up in therapy. I truly believe that once parents change how they approach their relationship with their teenagers, it will drastically improve everyone's life, and in my course, I teach you exactly how to do this without having to spend thousands of dollars on outside help. Would this interest you? If so, to get access to a free sample of my course to see if it's right for you, just enter your name and email in the box over to the right. Once you confirm your subscription, I will send you a free sample of the course.